everyone. So today I have a tutorial for you all on the look that I'm wearing right now. It's kind of a smoked out liner look, using a nice liquid line and kind of smoking it out with a base of an eye pencil and a black shadow. I like the way that it turned out. It's kind of got that cat eye look to it, which really elongates the eye shape, and I really like how that looks. Now this look is using almost all drugstore products. The only exception is I didn't have anything from the drugstore for my eyebrows, and I didn't have a drugstore eye primer, so I used my regular products for that. A few of these products are actually products that I use on a regular basis. This was the first time that I've used the Maybelline eyeshadows in depth, and for the price I find that those shadows are actually really quite nice quality. They are a little bit more difficult to blend out than a higher end shadow, and I find that they take a little bit more to build up the colour, but overall they do look really quite nice. This is just offering some cheaper alternatives. The lipstick is actually a really close dupe for MAC Pure Zen, and the liquid liner is actually a really close dupe for the Stila liquid liner, which I previously had but dried up, and I found that this one is just as good, does just as good a job. So yeah, if you want to see the tutorial, feel free to keep watching. Okay, so I'm just going to take my Maybelline Baby Skin primer. I'm just going to pop that all over my face, just using my fingers. Now this primer is meant to be really similar to the Benefit Porefessional. Personally, I prefer the Porefessional just because I can see when I'm putting it on where I'm spreading it to, but because this one's completely clear I have trouble seeing it and feeling it on the skin. They work pretty similarly. The wear time is pretty similar. And for foundation, I'm going to use the Revlon Colorstay Whipped Foundation. I found that this is really long wearing. It sits on the skin really nicely, and I find that I can get away with not powdering this as well. It sets really nicely. So I'm just dotting that on. And I'm just blending that one in with my Marc Jacobs Face 2 brush. The coverage of this foundation is also really, really good. Now, in terms of drugstore foundations, this one is by far my favourite. Next, I'm going to use my Maybelline Fit Me concealer and just apply that under my eyes, around my nose, around my mouth and chin, and on any blemishes. And I'm just blending that in with my MAC 224. I apologise if you can hear a pigeon outside. I have just become very aware of the fact that there is a really loud bird making noise. Okay. And for blush, I'm going to use one of my favourite cream blushes, which is the Maybelline Dream Bouncy Blush. This one is in the colour Pink Plum. I'm just going to use that on the MAC 130 brush, which is actually a really good brush for cream blush. Probably one of the only brushes that I use now for cream blusher. Okay, for powder I'm just going to take the Rimmel Stay Matte powder, and I'm just going to apply that just around my eyes because I have quite an oily eye area and I need to powder it, otherwise it creases up and does all kinds of horrible things. Now, I do apologise, I don't actually have any drugstore brow products. The Benefit Gimme Brow and the Anastasia Brow Wiz are my favourites. I'm going to use those because I do need to do my brows. But there are some pretty good alternatives. I know that L'Oreal has an alternative to the Gimme Brow. In terms of brow pencils, most companies actually have a brow pencil of some sort. I just like the size of this and how well it blends, but it really does depend on what you like. Okay. Also, something that I don't have a drugstore alternative of is an eyeshadow primer. I'm using the NARS Pro Prime. My favorite is the Too Faced Shadow Insurance, but again, I'm sure that there are drugstore brands that do stock eyeshadow primers. I just haven't found one that I really like. Now for eyes, I'm going to take my Maybelline Colour Tattoo in Bad to the Bronze. I'm going to pop that all over the lid just with my finger. I'm going to pop some just underneath as well. Next, I'm going to take my Maybelline Hyper Diamonds palette, and this one is in BR2. I'm going to take this kind of creamy colour and just dab that on the inner part of the eye. I'm taking that one on an Inglot just plain paddle brush. And I'm just putting it on the inner part of the eye there. And I will pop a little bit of that colour just under the inner part of the eye as well. Next up, I'm going to take from that same palette, that kind of maroon colour, and I'm going to kind of blend that along the lash line. I'm doing that with a MAC 219 brush. Okay, so to start, I'm just applying it in kind of a patting motion. Reason being, I find that drugstore shadows have a little bit more fallout than shadows of higher quality. So as you can see, I'm just tapering that to be from a thicker kind of line to a thinner line on the inside. That's actually going to help shape a really nice smoky winged liner. And then I'm just blending out the edges. Just popping a little bit of that colour just underneath. Okay. And I'm just going to take a little bit of that black colour in that palette as well. I'm just going to fold over a cotton pad. I'm just going to place that under the eye just so I can get a really nice line. And I'm just going to kind of do a smoky liner shape with that MAC 219. And that just stops that black colour from falling out all over my face as well. So that's just laid a base there, and I'm just going to take my Inglot shader brush again and just blend the top part out. And next I'm just going to take my Maybelline Master Liner pencil. I'm just going to line my inner rim and upper lash line, and then I'm just going to pop a little bit of that pencil just along the lash line and smoke it out with the 219 brush as well. And as I'm smudging that liner, I'm just kind of smudging it into a cat eye look, which we're going to kind of enhance with a liquid liner in a moment. To kind of sharpen up that line, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my concealer brush that I had a little bit of concealer left over on, and I'm just going to kind of swipe that up so it kind of just makes that line a little bit sharper. Next I'm going to take my Maybelline Master Precise liquid liner pen, which is almost exactly the same as the Stila Longwear liner. And I'm just going to line my upper lash line with a nice winged line, and I'm going to take it in and kind of make it into a cat eye on the inside as well. There we go. And that just kind of, that cat look on the inside kind of just elongates the eye a little bit. Adds a little bit more interest to the look as well. I'm just going to go back in with a little bit of that black shadow, and I'm just going to smoke that out a little bit on the outer corner as well. What I'm doing is I'm just building up that colour, and then I'm blending it out a little with the Inglot paddle brush, just to kind of get that really smoky look, make sure that it's building up to a nice deep black colour next to that liner. Once that black colour is built up to the depth that I want it, I'm just going to take a Q-tip, and I'm just going to kind of run it just under the liner, just to make sure that that line is still nice and crisp. And just on the top there, I'm just taking just my NARS blending brush. I'm just blending out that black to make sure that there's no harsh line. Next I'm just going to curl my eyelashes, and I'm just going to use my mascara, the Maybelline The Rocket Volume Mascara. Okay, so that's the eyes done. For lips, I'm just going to take my Maybelline Nudes Tantalizing Taupe, and I'm just going to pop that all over the lips. And just to finish everything off, I'm going to take the Translucent Pearl Mineral Glow Pearls from Physicians Formula. And I'm just going to take that on the MAC 165 brush. I'm just going to highlight my upper cheekbones. I'll also highlight under my brow bone. I'll just do that with a NARS blending brush. And just a little bit on my Cupid's bow. This highlighter is seriously, it was an impulse purchase for me when I was in the States. It is one of the nicest highlighters I've ever used. It just gives your skin a glow without looking glittery or shimmery. It just glows. Overall, yeah, I think I'm okay with that. And that's it. That's the whole look. I'm really quite happy with how it turned out. I hadn't used the Maybelline eyeshadows all of that much, and I was wondering how the colour payoff would be. But I found that they were quite good to use. They were a little bit harder to blend and a little bit harder to build up the colour. However, I felt that for the price that these eyeshadows are, they did perform really quite well. So yeah, I hope you guys like the look, and if you want to see anything else, please do feel free to comment, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye!